Yeah, meeting hasn't been called to order. I was letting Evan catch his breath. All right, call the meeting to order at 4:12. You can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Face the flag, place your hand over your heart, repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can all please stay standing and bow your heads for a moment of silence in honor of our nation's tragedy today. Thank you, guys. I'm sure everybody remembers where they were. So take a moment of silence in honor of those that lost their lives today, years ago. Thank you guys all for showing up. We'll go ahead and go through roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Ray Santos.
Here.
Councilman Mike Lara. Absent. City Manager Todd Parton. You said he's coming, Kyle, or no?
He's here somewhere, so he plans on attending.
Possible. All right. Economic Development Manager Kyle Warzinski.
I'm here.
Member Monir Ahmed. Member Bernie Bland, present. Dr. Evan Brown.
Present.
Member Alan Coblin.
Present.
Member Vaughn Lawson.
Present.
Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, sir.
Member Rob Moran. Absent. Member Betty Rader.
Present.
Thank you. Member Kimberly Stars. Absent. Member Karen Wheat.
Present.
And our Beaumont Unified School District is still vacant. Dr. Brown. Are we gonna fulfill that? Is that the goal?
He'll find us someone.
I'll find someone.
Good
I
deal.
think.
You got
Yeah.
homework.
We had one when Terrence was up here. There was lengthy discussion whether it should be a junior or senior. We thought that a junior that could also participate their senior year would be good, or whether it rotates. I think that council just would like to see participation from a high school student that has some interest in government, to kind of get an idea of the functionality and kind of what's going on at our level. So if they present someone to us, I'll take it quickly to city council and get their approval.
Okay, cool. Let the record reflect that member Mike Lara has made it to the meeting. We just started, so you haven't missed much. All right, any request for excused absences?
The only one I got was Rob I talked to today on a different subject, and he said he probably wasn't gonna be able to make it due to schedule conflict.
Cool. All right, any approval or adjustments to the agenda?
One adjustment I'd like to have the committee entertain is to postpone item 2. I like how these things are always different. My minutes and my agenda are different. 2C, the business, 2D, Chamber of Commerce presentation. Delay that one or schedule that one for the next meeting so that the chamber has time to prepare the presentation.
Okay, good deal. We'll do that. And then any conflict of interest disclosures? Good there. Seeing nobody in the audience for public comment, we'll move on to action item number 2. Approval of the minutes from the Economic Development meeting from August 14th. Have you guys all had a chance to review those minutes that was emailed to us all? Can we entertain a motion on the minutes from last month?
I motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Item 2B, update of projects from city staff.
So staff has been working with some of the developers within the commercial areas of town. You'll see some of the development being erected along 2nd Street. So that's some of the inline shops and I think the grocery outlet. The other uses that are in plan check or finishing plan check is the Planet Fitness, the In-N-Out Burger, and the movie theater. So I know the movie theater's plans are in, but as I'm sure Councilmember Lara can attest, those are non-standardized plans, right? It's not like building a house, it's a little bit more detailed than that because of the different components that go into that. So I know it's gone through that process. It's kind of a fun set of plans to look at. And I was telling our building inspectors as well as our building techs that at the counter the other day, is that look at these ones specifically because you probably won't see another set anytime soon, because if we get that movie theater, we're probably gonna be waiting 20, 30 years to see if the region supports another one, so it's kind of an interesting one. So they're going through that process. Large projects that are going on, the Potrero Bridge is almost complete. Then we're working on design for the ramps themselves and funding for that. The signals at Oak Valley Parkway and Interstate 10 are on and working. So hopefully those have gone a long way to ease some of the traffic concerns at some of those rush hour times that the residents were experiencing. And then the wastewater treatment plant, which is always going on, but not necessarily in the front of everyone's mind, is going vertical at this point in time. So a lot of the underground stuff on site has been taken care of. And the assistant city manager provided council with an update the other night where some of the structures are actually going vertical. So that's exciting, at least if you like sewer treatment, which I do. So that's kind of fun. Other notable projects, like I said, we're getting a lot of interest in our industrial and commercial areas. We have a couple, 3 commercial projects within the planning department that are currently being processed. So hopefully those go through smoothly and those can start at a quick timeline. There's probably 2 or 3 other commercial developers I've talked to that haven't submitted because they're still mulling over property, and there's one industrial use of note that's fairly exciting that deals with some of the California recycle programs, some of the requirements, some more of a green energy industry that's looking at the city for their home base. So if we get further on discussions or progress with any of those, I'll be sure to let the committee know kind of what traction is being gained or lost with those types of things. So those are all the major projects I can think of. Or
Is there any update on Amazon?
You ever signed up?
their sign is up. It looks nice. The building itself, the shell, is almost complete. And I believe they're gonna be scheduling or coordinating the internal trades that go in there. So the robotics setup, the conveyance systems and those types of things. The people building the building aren't the ones that are gonna be installing that handling equipment. So Amazon will bring in their own contractors or whatever company specializes in installing those systems throughout their other facilities. And it'll be however many months until those.
Good
So
deal.
I'm thinking maybe early 2020, late 2019, because it's already September. So a couple more months and we'll be in December, right? So maybe late this year or early next year before it's open and operational.
They coordinate, go ahead.
So my Christmas presents will be coming from this Amazon.
Specifically, everything I order should ship from here, but they couldn't guarantee it.
And CJ Foods, are they open yet?
They have not started manufacturing. They have occupancy to occupy some of the office areas and I think do some light training and some storage. But in terms of operations, I don't believe they're hooked up and ready to go in terms of making food yet. But they're nearing that point, maybe done within the next month or two before we're in there. They have employees making noodles and those types of things.
It's cold in there.
You'll know when we do a grand opening for them. I'll make sure to invite all of you.
Oh, good deal.
Which company is that called?
That's CJ Foods.
Is that, so there was an article in the Enterprise about another, are they Korean? About another Korean company that was looking for businesses in the Riverside area, but a different company, right?
I read that newspaper frequently. I didn't find that one, so they might be looking for other property. I read it and I find it and they are, I'll yell at it.
Well, it was just because they referenced Rancho Cucamonga, but they didn't reference Beaumont. So I just wasn't sure if
It
it
might
was
be a different company then.
These guys were strictly noodles, and that's all they were, but CJ's more,
They have the seaweed snacks, the
Right.
dumplings, some noodle bowls.
I was just curious.
Yeah, but they're not in Rancho.
Thank
There
you.
are other facilities in Floyd.
Good deal. All right, do we have any other questions for Kyle on the updates of the projects in the city?
Cinema West for the movie theater. So if you want to look them up,
Do you know how many screens it's going to have?
12.
12?
I heard it was 6.
That's cool.
I doubled it.
That'll make everybody happy.
Good deal. All right, seeing no other questions, we can go on to item 2C, Business of the Month Program.
So this one, the committee asked to be pulled from those future agenda items for discussion
Oh, that's right.
at the last meeting, so I went ahead and pulled it and threw it on here, so I can open it up for discussion. If you prefer, I can provide some background on what I've seen for Business of the Month programs in other areas.
Mhm.
But I can tell you right now that the city itself does not have one currently.
So what does the committee think? Or yeah, can you give us a background on what other cities do?
Yes, so in other areas that I'm familiar with, either the city or in sometimes the Economic Development Corporation, if they have one of those, called the EDC, a nonprofit organization that's partnered with the city that functions or has board members from private industries. They'll typically do these types of things, or chambers of commerce. And they put together a program where they highlight one business or however many businesses they have enough time to get to each month. And sometimes it'll be a short blurb about them, sometimes it'll be an actual video on like a council member, one of the key staff members interviewing the owner of the business. And then they'll show their location, and they'll highlight it for maybe a month or so on the city website or the chamber website or on social media, something like that. And it kind of gives a good feeling or a personal touch to some of those businesses
Right.
that have been in operation. Some of it do it for new businesses only. Some do it for new businesses and existing ones that hit major benchmarks, like a 10-year anniversary or things like that. So it's something that I think that we've talked about in concept here. The city itself has never rolled one out.
So the discussion could happen here, excuse me, and then we take it to council for approval.
Yeah, I would say this is an idea that we mulled over, and then what do you think, council, about it? And then if council says, okay, they'll probably look at Todd and I and say, okay, what types of resources are needed to put this together, right? Because, I mean, if we're gonna do videos, that's one thing. If it's just testimonials, then that's another thing. But how do you want that program structured? And then we would report back to them with probably our plan on how we would see it implemented.
The chamber was doing a spotlight on business.
Mhm.
We're trying to, and that was, we were just putting it in our Gazette article, not now. Toby Bush from the Gazette would not let us continue to do that. We felt that it was a conflict. We can't afford to pay for an advertisement like that, so we had to discontinue our little program. So maybe we could solicit some cooperation from the Gazette.
So would the chamber be able to work with the city to make it happen?
Certainly, it's just that the chamber's not flush with cash, and so we can't buy advertisement in the Gazette, like, and they're very gracious about our Beaumont now, they give us a whole page,
Right.
but they won't let us kind of like spotlight a business in our page.
How much money are you talking about?
I don't know how much a page ad costs, I know a little tiny ad, less like an eighth of a page is a couple $100. So,
It's, I guess it's in the neighborhood of like 1,200, 1,400, if you
Well-
wanted a full-page color ad.
What would your thoughts, Kyle, be if, where else would the city announce other than Facebook, Instagram, I mean, the Record Gazette.
Our website.
We can put it in our website too, and we have our email blasts and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We could put it on all of that media that we have. We can put it on all of the media that you have. It's just that the chamber doesn't have the resources to put it.
Does the city have access to any billboard?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I'm wondering, I wouldn't want to sell space at bus stops because there's a risk involved. Because once you start advertising at bus stops, you can't limit people's freedom of speech, right? But if we could, for city purposes, advertise a business of the month at bus stops, it might be something worth looking into. I mean, there's no cost to the city. I don't know if RTA would have issue with that, but that's a possibility. Maybe you do business of the month at where the Walmart stop is, since that's probably one of the busiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what you run into okay, so you wanna do the bus stop at that area and you wanna advertise. Not that we have a Lowe's, but you have Home Depot there and you wanna advertise Lowe's. I ran into that in my previous career. You have to be careful of who you advertise, that you're not in conflict with the people that are behind them in the area. But, you know, that can be dealt with.
Yeah, it's just a city business of the month. It's not necessarily their
Right,
ad
and
for them, but it's just.
it would be known that it's gonna rotate. I mean, once it's up and running,
Yeah.
I mean, they could get hurt feelings for a month, but.
Could you do it in the form of a banner with replaceable, develop one with a replaceable name of the business each month? You have one banner? The reason I'm thinking is because I was previously negotiating on behalf of a client, the monument sign at Highland Springs off the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
$500 a month for my ad. So that would be easier to raise money for that at $500 a month on putting up a banner on that monument. It would be below the Altus advertisement, the Pardee one, which is the biggest one. But that way, if you could change the name somehow, maybe use a Velcro cover or something like that.
You're referring to the big one, the big sign right there.
Next to the Shell station.
Right.
It's a private party that owns it.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Who regulates what gets put up there, them or the city?
I would think they do. But
I don't know if they actually ask us. I mean, typically, the city has a sign ordinance that's followed, and you would show us the types of signs that go up on that thing. I honestly don't know if the owner of the sign is complying with that, and whether if they change out sections of the sign, if that section has been approved by the city or not.
there was a political, a local, someone who was running for office, and his advertisement was on there for a while.
Right.
I know obviously there's gonna be restrictions on things you can't advertise. You can't advertise weapons, and you can't advertise drugs.
And you said it was 500 a month for what you were
He
looking
was
into?
offering me $500 a month if I signed up for a year or more. My client is still interested, but for what we were looking at, he has space for at least two.
So
He
do-
would love it.
Do you want to move forward with it, Kyle, in the sense of drawing up the idea at this point to be prepared based off of this conversation to
What I
send to
would
city
do is just-
council?
If the committee votes on it, I can go ahead and present something like this to city council before I just start putting the program together.
Right.
And then if they say okay, then staff will start doing work on putting the program together.
All right. So we need a motion for that?
If that's the desire of the committee.
So if we can get a motion for the committee to send this to council for a discussion.
I'll motion for Kyle to take the request to council.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Good deal. Ayes have it. All right, so we have postponed item 2D. Did you want to discuss anything else on that, Kyle, or you want to call it good there?
I think I'm good. The only thing I think I would suggest, or what I'll plan on suggesting to council, is that we may discuss the structure of the program and everything a couple more times at the EDC meeting before I bring back my final suggestions
Right.
to that, because I want the participation on the committee to be involved in the presentation of the program. I don't want it to be solely, the committee came up with an idea, Kyle presents that to council, it goes back to Kyle, and then he puts together the entire program.
Right.
I'd rather it be a working relationship with the committee and staff on exactly what will be presented to council. But before we start doing that, I think we should probably get the buy-in from council, whether they think that's a valuable time spent or
Right.
not.
And when we did those business visits last time around, I think that kind of falls in line with what some of the people were saying, that it would be like a way to allow the other businesses to know about the businesses that are local. You know? So that might be, I think it would help the individuals that are business owners to get their brand out to the rest of the city that maybe doesn't know about them, so.
Sure. One thing I'd add before we close on this one is think about how we would select it, like the actual process we would go through, right? Try to think about that on, are we gonna solicit interest? Or is the committee gonna hand pick them? What if one applies and it's not, like it's a marijuana business, right? That's not allowed. How are we gonna decide which ones we're gonna showcase and which ones we're not?
So basically come up with the criteria
An
or a
application
structure.
process.
Something like that, and how we're gonna do the actual selection, because what if we get 50?
Right.
How are we gonna pick which ones get sifted to the top of that pile or not? And also keep in mind the concern that Councilmember Laura brought up on like the selling advertisement thing, is that if we allow ads for one business, we couldn't say it wasn't for another business, even though we may not like.
What does the
what that
city
business
send,
enterprise is.
what does the city send out to the residents
The monthly?
monthly?
I think there's a mayor's message one, and then there's an update from the city manager.
Is it a letter?
I think it's a e-letter, so I don't think it's actually in paper.
What do we, what bill do we pay to the city? There's something that comes.
Oh, you can get it in it used to be your sewer and trash
Sewer and
bill,
trash,
now it's just your sewer bill.
Right, but the sewer bill comes from the city of Beaumont, right? Could we coordinate with that so that there would be,
Like a pamphlet in there?
not, even if,
Stopping,
Yeah.
some stuff in there.
like
We
if
have
we're
to
already
pay for
sending
it.
everybody in the city something,
We pay that company, so I think I looked at it before, a little half-page thing in all those is a couple grand
Oh.
to send out. I could be wrong, but I know it's not $50. I know it's at least a couple hundred, if not more. To put
that's
in.
through the company that prints the bill up?
Because they have to stuff them.
Can you
What
look
if-
into that, Kyle, and bring back that information to us so
Yep.
that we can kind of start looking at the options that we have on ways that we can promote the business?
What if it was just like a watermark on the bill? So it would still, they wouldn't be stuffing twice. You know what I mean? There's a big portion of that bill that's blank, right? Or the
There's a
back,
section we can write things in,
right?
but it's not gonna, I mean, we could say Beaumont Business of the Month. I don't
I'm
want
just
to
trying
name
to
one
think
off the
outside the
top of my
box.
head and give their,
Save some money and,
Mike?
I mean, because everybody opens that bill.
Joe Schmo's Pizza, right? And
Yeah.
all it's gonna say is Beaumont City Business of the Month, Joe Schmo's Pizza. It's not gonna have like their logo or
Right.
Right.
the testimonial on there.
Very few really read that on the bill, but they say their bill, they put the price.
What are
Right.
you doing getting a paper bill anyway?
Yeah.
Sign up for
So it's better to
Yeah.
not to have a
E-bill?
separate,
I do. I gotta look at that
I
bill.
like to open it.
I gotta make sure, because if I'll go through emails. There's too many emails. But good deal. I mean, at least it's a good
Yeah.
thought. Sure, we'll come
I'll
up with
check into
something
it.
creative.
It would, it'd be cool to, somehow partner with the movie theater and do a banner type thing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Beaumont Business
There
of the
you go.
Month and highlight it, you know, during the pre.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell them.
The businesses, if you got a big enough business, are probably interested in putting their own bill, but then that eliminates all the small businesses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the theater's a good idea because I've seen it in other theaters I go to, especially
Yeah.
the smaller ones. I mean, you may not see it at Harkins, right?
Right,
Because they're just selling their Coke or Pepsi ads or things like that. But I know the local one I go to in Riverside, they have the business out front, right? That could be a chiropractic office.
Mhm.
They'll have a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
funky 10-second ad.
Yeah.
Right,
And it's kind of fun because they're not professional actors,
right.
right? But you know it's actually the person that's doing it. So it's quirky, but it's also effective because you now know that there's this place outside. So
Do we have leverage with the theater?
I know them
City?
fairly well, so I can ask. what-
Negotiate it into the deal.
Into the contract.
Yeah, negotiate it into the contract now.
They're already approved, so I don't have much ground to stand on, except for me asking nicely to see if the city can get a spotlight in some of their ad space on some of the screens. They may say maybe not for certain ones,
Right.
right? Like maybe when Star Wars comes out, they're gonna be like, we can't run your ad during that weekend.
Mhm.
But that's something that we might be able to talk to them about.
And the city doesn't own a piece of land that has a billboard on it?
No.
Is there an ordinance that the city can't put a billboard on a piece of land that they own?
We don't allow new billboards in the city.
What if it's for the city? Make an exception?
Yeah. I was just saying that. Yeah, that's
City can do whatever they want.
Probably not something I'm gonna recommend to them.
All right. So we'll look forward to update on that for the coming months, and then all of you guys can keep your ideas and stuff together, and when we come back, we'll be able to hopefully finalize something productive and profitable.
Sure.
Well, I mean, for the businesses, you know, profitable in the sense of spreading the good word.
Maybe it's like new businesses, in
Mhm.
terms of promoting new up and coming businesses. That, you know, that also does take away from established ones.
Just think about it. And it doesn't have to be maybe one a month, it could be more, but know that more is gonna require more time.
Right.
Yeah, because
Like I said, the testimonial is different than a video.
once it gets
Videos
out
look
and gets
cool, though.
established, it'll be desirable.
Yeah.
I think once people know about it, then it'll be like, well, then businesses will probably strive to
Oh,
get
yeah.
that goal.
Especially if you see someone that does a really nice, because some of the ones I saw, what was it? The one where Eastvale got what did they get? The new restaurant that Eastvale got? I forgot which one it was. Was it Slater's? Then they interviewed the owner, like in the restaurant, the mayor interviewed him on camera, and Eastvale popped that up on their website.
All
And it got
right,
all these hits.
right.
Because it was this fun video between the mayor and the owner of the business, and they were saying how excited they were to come into that city. So you could see where other businesses see that, thinking, well, I want a video with the mayor.
Right.
Like so it kind of snowballs into a program that gains interest. Initially, it might not be there, but if you establish something that's worthwhile, you'll get a lot of people that I think are interested.
Facebook videos and stuff, that can help. Good deal. All right, guys, keep your thinking caps on and come back with some good info in the coming months. And so item 2D has been postponed or moved to a future meeting, so we'll look forward to the Beaumont Chamber of Commerce presentation. Was that on anything specific, or?
It was Susan, and she covered the meeting for me, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I have a bunch of stuff that's coming up for the chamber.
Good deal.
Presentation.
All right. Item 2E, I have local apprenticeship program. Did we have discussion on that one, Kyle?
You just asked me to pull it off the future and put it on this one for discussion, so since
I did?
the committee as a whole, I don't point out names, but I figured the people that may have more to deal with the apprenticeship and schooling and education might want to take the lead on the discussion for this one,
Right.
because that's not necessarily my area of expertise.
Yeah, so we had talked the last meeting, and something that we're trying to move towards in the school district is establishing an apprenticeship program. So we have, right now at Beaumont High School, we have 9 different career tech ed pathways. And one of them is sports med and medical professions. And so we have a kind of a dynamite teacher who's gone and reached out to Loma Linda and Redlands Community Hospital on placing kids into apprenticeship programs. So it's just, I think when we talked about it was like expanding those opportunities for kids. We also have obviously the partnership with IBEW and the electricians boot camp, but then we have a manufacturing program at Beaumont High that's taking off, and we have a lot of machining here in town. And so I think it was that discussion about like those different machine shops and trying to get into those spaces to see if we can get kids into apprenticeships. It's really truly the direction of the state somewhat, in terms of having kids understand that there are other opportunities out there other than just going straight into college. So what that looks like here, I don't know.
The for us, we will be having a boot camp, another one, and you guys are always welcome to attend to see what the students get to see when they come to the boot camp. It'll be September 24th at our same facility down in San Bernardino. We share a school with the San Bernardino local, and it's right there off 1855 Business Center Drive. And if you guys have time, anytime throughout the day, 9 a.m. till about 12, they'll be going through the different boot camp rooms. There's math relevancy, first aid CPR, hands-on, and then the electrical safety and theory. And then at the end of it all, they go through and do some hands-on. They actually get to put their hands on some plugs and switches. And then we actually partnered with the sheet metal workers, and they show them how to put a piece of air duct in the, they basically strap it up, and, they go through that. So if you've never seen it, if you've never seen a student that you can know is probably a troubled individual, and you watch them, like I've seen it a couple times in these boot camps, where the kids show up and they're 100% just there for a field trip. And they're probably the kid that could care less about his grade. And then you see him start to put a piece of equipment together, you see him with hand tools and power tools, and you see like that they're mechanically inclined, and then they realize it, and they're like, oh wow, I can make 80 grand a year and not have any student loans. Like, wow. And then you see the light turn on. So it's a cool thing to see. If you guys are available, you're welcome to come down to the boot camp and say hello. There'll be pizza at about 12 o'clock.
What's the name of the company?
We're the Electrical Workers Union. The boot camp is
Oh,
IBW.
okay.
So we're the IBW, the apprenticeship for the electrical workers. So it's a 5-year program, earn while you learn. But I'm an electrician by trade, but I represent the electricians. There's plumbers, pipe fitters, carpenters,
What's the date?
laborers. September 24th.
So it was 13.
1855 Business Center Drive, 1855 Business Center Drive. I'll send you a flyer, Kyle, and then you can distribute it to the group. That way you guys can have it. But it is important for us to reach out with the local businesses and see, because I know I've visited a couple of schools and you see what some of the high schools are doing. And some of these kids, they know how to do a lot of cool stuff that some of the programs the high schools have. I'm like, wow. CAD stuff and machine work. So if we can somehow incorporate that into the business, the local businesses that are coming up, and get some kids hired out of high school, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty impressive. We have one kid
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
the program that came from Glenview, and then the soft skills too.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's what I forgot.
Have you made contact with the local machine shops already?
Yeah, so we actually about a year and a half ago we kind of just went out on foot and went over to Precision PSI. We went to Omni And right across the street there is another, what is it?
Summit Tool and Die?
Yeah, and all of them were the PSI CEO, Steve Morgan, his name is. He said, I need 15 kids right now. I could use 15
Always.
apprentices. Yeah. Because you can't teach a skill in any program. You have to do it as a journeyman. And so we had some teacher transition, but now we have a different instructor that's more solid. So we're going to start connecting that person to him. And then we had some other businesses, Sorensen Engineering is coming and taking a tour soon, and they said they'd hire just about anybody who's mechanically inclined who has a pulse, and who will show up.
That's perfect. I was gonna say, if you're having trouble reaching some of the business owners, the CEOs, contact me and I'll bang on their door, because a lot of times I'll know who they are. So, but it sounds like you've already gone door to door and found them, so that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you tried his name's gonna elude me. He gave Vaughn's boss some flack at this meeting we were in, but they're out of Banning. It's a business out of Banning that needs machinists or different types of mechanical workers, and he said, I can't find skilled labor. And he was blaming San Jacinto for it, which obviously isn't their fault. But
It wasn't Duraplastics, was it?
no, it was in
No?
Banning, and he's a very vocal gentleman, so it was fun to watch him on a panel, as long as you weren't Dr. Schultz. So, I mean, he took it in good stride,
Yeah.
and volunteered to work with them to help them on everything, but man, it wasn't what you expected when you went into that panel. Let me think of who it is, and I'll send it to you, to see if there could be something. But no, if you don't produce, you might get made fun of.
Right,
probably.
right. Not Bill Clark.
No. I'll find it for you.
Good deal. All right, do we have any other discussion for item E, local apprenticeship programs? Ideas and discussions, questions, comments, concerns?
Let me ask, on the apprenticeship, on that, I mean, he didn't mention about the constructions, apprenticeship, but, is there any interest on that? I mean, to do an apprenticeship on that, because, 10 years from now, 15 years is, even now, is the demand on that,
Right.
for the kids.
Yeah, so we've actually toured, over the summer, we toured 2 different building trades and construction programs at high schools. And we've had some conversation about establishing one at the high school. But that has nothing to do with apprenticeship, that just has to do with us starting a career tech ed program in that. But we're in the conversation stage of that, especially given our space issues and our facility issues, so, but yeah, we're kind of on the cusp of talking about that. Vaughn, you probably have some.
I was just gonna make one observation if I could, because I wanted to listen without running my mouth the first time we were here. Naturally, I am a huge proponent of apprenticeships. So Dr. Brown is excited to hear the work that you all are doing, and excited to hear the work the electricians are doing. Mount San Jacinto just wrote a grant that we're hoping to submit to do some additional apprenticeship work. We have pre-apprenticeships, of course, in construction, and I've been tasked, Mayor Santos, with moving forward with developing a construction program, and we're looking at doing that in conjunction with apprenticeships. Before I came to Mount San Jacinto, I worked at Santiago Canyon College for 4 years, where we had one of the 3 largest apprenticeship programs in the state of California, including construction, where we work very closely. One of the things that I will inform you of, so you're aware, in the Riverside area, the Carpenters Union are getting ready to build another training facility. We learned that at a pre-apprenticeship meeting up in Ontario here this past month. And so that is going to be something that's readily available, and we're looking forward to partnering with them. One of the benefits that we hope to bring in developing apprenticeship programs is the opportunity for those students to not only gain needed training and skills, but also to gain college credit, because that's what we did at SCC when I was there. Students that took apprenticeship coursework were able to translate that into college credit so that they could pursue an associate degree decide someday they want to go into administration or supervision, or even training themselves, that they can begin to build those pathways. So just wanted to share that with you. We'll keep you up to speed on how we develop any way that we can support Dr. Brown or support the electrical work that's being done through your unit. We'd love to chat with you about that.
Good deal.
Awesome.
It's Lawrence Equipment
Oh,
in
okay.
Banning.
Huh.
So look them up and call.
Sure. All
I
right.
think they do commercial equipment.
Yeah.
So I think they may manufacture commercial equipment,
Okay.
like steel equipment, and then they sell it. And they need people that are skilled trade-wise
Right.
that can do that. Because he was complaining that just, you can't do it, and what's being taught in the current educational system is not producing a product that is capable of doing that work.
Right.
So he's thinking, I want to grow my business, how do I do it? And it's the same thing you talked about, if you don't have a journeyman program
Right.
at your facility, then you're just void of talent. You'll never find them, which is why he was probably so angry.
And the interesting thing is, and Vaughn can attest to this, like K-12s and community colleges, we're all really geared towards technical skills right now. And so we've established 5 new pathways just in the past 3 years at the one high school. I'd love to take you around to them. So and one of them in the manufacturing priority industry sectors, what we call it. These kids are running manual mills, automated CNC mills, automated lathes. I mean, they're doing some very technical manufacturing in terms of building components and
You guys
stuff.
brought that back to the school?
We did, yeah.
See, that's nice, because I took those classes
Mm-hmm.
in high school. Well, I excelled because I already had experience, because my grandfather owned a tool and die company.
Uh-huh.
But they ex-nayed those programs.
Right.
And they ex-nayed wood shop, and they ex-nayed auto.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always struggled on how, I mean, I didn't go into that trade, but I know how to change my oil.
Right.
And I know how to, if I need a component, I can go to my uncle's shop and create it versus try to order it. So it's a little different, and you look at the world differently
Right.
if you have some of those skills, even if you don't get into that trade.
Right, the
Yeah.
technical skills are truly coming back into all K-14 spaces.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's been a really nice last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, a lot of money.
Yes.
That's good stuff. Well, good deal. I think moving one of the items off of the topics for future agenda did us some good. You know, that allowed us to have that discussion about the Business of the Month program. So seeing no other questions on local apprenticeship program, we'll move on to item F and see if there's one of these that we can move to a future agenda item, or if there's anything that we need to add. If anybody has any ideas to add to these topics for future agendas, let us know now. Or if any of you guys see something that we can move into the action items, might serve us some good to do so.
Oh, I had someone talk to me, kind of falls into the item number 3, the downtown beautification and facade contest, but the downtown beautification. You were talking about having different, now you'll see in the freeway where something's been adopted by so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about, well, why don't we have different businesses adopt a block or a corner and maybe enhance it and keep it clean and put flowers in or something like that. Not a bad idea.
If you want, we can talk about it next meeting.
So, motion to move item F3 into a future agenda item, so we can have a discussion on that one?
Are you making the motion?
Do I need a motion for that, or do we just need to let you know?
Just consensus, if
Yeah.
everyone says okay. If everyone
Yeah,
says
sure.
no, then I won't do it.
Everybody good with moving item F3 to a future topic? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Good deal. All right, that'll move us to committee members' reports. At this time, if you have anything you feel is relevant to the committee or any additional discussion, feel free to let us know. And we'll start with Mr. Vaughn.
I have nothing to report this time. My first time. Thank you so much for inviting me, and to Ms. Wheelwright for the invitation, and we look forward to serving.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lara.
Nothing to report today.
Nothing to report.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to report.
I don't want to be the odd person, so I'll say.
Oh,
I already reported on the boot camp, so you guys are welcome to come.
Hey, I got a bunch of stuff.
Okay, let us have it.
Okay, tomorrow is we can pass these around.
Sure.
And you're already signed up for the Husing thing. Tomorrow is, tomorrow evening from 5:30 to 7 is a joint chamber mixer at Bank of Hemet. They're celebrating their 12 years in the Pass area. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Bank of Hemet, but they are an incredible member of the community. So it would be very nice if any of you could stop by and, get free food. You could probably get enough to have dinner. And then on Friday at 7:30 in the morning, we have Sheriff Chad Bianco speaking at Good Morning Beaumont over at Tuckwit Canyon Golf Course. So, yeah, you're signed up. So that would be interesting to hear our new sheriff speak and see what he has to say.
How much
And
is that? What is the cost of it?
it's, are you with, who are you with? Are you with the Unified School District?
No, with IBW. We're not a member.
$25.
$25 to attend?
Non-members are 25 and members are 20.
Okay.
And then Saturday morning, State Addicts, which is a gift store. It's kind of like a secondhand store, but it benefits Kids Cures down on 6th Street, and they're having their grand opening. So it would be fun to go there. It's kind of a fun store, has a lot of fun stuff in it. And that's from 10 to 4 on Saturday. So if you're not doing anything on Saturday, stop by and see what's happening with the State Addicts. And then on October 11th is the Dr. Using Economic Forecast Breakfast, again over at Tuckwit. So that's always informative. It's only $35 a person, and going to hear him speak on the Pass area can go anywhere from $90 to over $100 a person. So it's a pretty good deal.
Cool. Thanks, Betty, for that,
Okay. It's kind of
that short but informative report.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Santos?
Nothing to
Nothing today? Member Allen, Coblin?
No, nothing to report.
Nothing today. Kyle,
Thanks for asking.
bring us home, Kyle.
I don't have anything of large discussion points, but I did want to invite everyone to the Rite Aid grand opening on October the 3rd at 10:15 or so.
October 3rd.
So Thursday, October 3rd, that's the new Rite Aid, not the Banning Rite Aid. Come to our side of the street at the new building, and that thing should be open by then. We'll have a nice grand opening.
Is that other Banning Rite Aid gonna stay open, or do they?
They're gonna have an ice cream counter.
You check that
Oh, yeah,
out right away.
they will have ice cream. They were boasting
No,
about
talk to
that.
the manager.
Not just ice cream at the grand opening, but ice cream for sale.
What time did you say, Kyle? 10?
That's
Be
right.
there around 10:15 or so. Because the cutting's at 10:30, but if I tell you 10:30, you're gonna miss it. I know how it goes.
I do. All right. Seeing no other comments, we will adjourn the meeting at 5:01, even though we started 14 minutes late. Good job, guys.